What's up, Cuzzy Wuzzies? You're listening to the Bay Ridge Boys, History Hyenas. Bad.
That's all bad. That's all. You guys are okay.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
What it is, baby.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a very special,
internet.
very special, another episode of History Hyenas. But this was special. We got very special guest TJ Miller, the one and only TJ Miller's in the building, and he's got a bottle of apple cider vinegar, which is delicious.
Yeah.
It's also good for your heart. No,
Yeah. It is good for your heart. That's what they say.
Yeah.
Yana, so I saw. I think you're doing a club or did a club that I did. How often do you tour?
Used to be more when my career was a little hotter. So right now we're in a dip.
But we're getting it right back up with this podcast.
Yeah, podcast's going good.
Right, I know. All of us do a podcast because things are going well. I think that's
It's what it is. Yeah.
No, I mean, if you could, would you tour every weekend?
Yeah, I mean, if the not for $1,000, not for the minimum,
Yeah.
If I was getting like selling tickets and it was full, I like that. But yeah, I'm at the point, I think my age where it's like, I'd rather do one night than a full weekend if I can. But I love doing live comedy. Yeah, but
yeah, it's the best.
It's the best. That's your favorite thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had let me just take this Indian food out of my pocket.
Dude.
Thank God all this is on video.
Yeah.
This is when you really do it. When you have a film coming out tomorrow, Friday, Underwater, January 10th, you just carry around Indian food in your pocket.
Indian food's legit.
Yeah.
It's legit, especially at McDougal.
Yeah. Congrats on the film. That's coming out tomorrow.
Yeah. We got a fucking movie star in that.
Yeah, we got a fucking movie star here.
As you could tell from the fucking Kati roll.
Guy's drinking apple cider vinegar with Indian food.
Yeah, exactly.
In his pocket.
And he's also going to be at Bananas from February 17th to whatever.
That's a new Hollywood, baby.
Go Bananas.
Go Bananas. Yeah.
It's a new Hollywood.
Not
Ricky
just
Gervais
bananas.
said it
You've
right.
got to go Bananas.
Yeah.
I mean, I think so. I tour every weekend, and I love it. I was watching Chappelle's acceptance speech.
Yeah.
For the Mark Twain Prize, and then the other people that Kate thinks Jon Stewart is funnier than I am, and Lenny Marcus. So things are going well at home. And no, but I mean, I watched that, and it's true. It's like there's nothing better than stand up. At least right now.
Yeah, it's the best, and it's like I feel like now it's at a time where it's wanted the most because it's like you go outside and like at work like you can't say anything. It's very PC, but when you go in the comedy club, it's like we're just fucking talking.
You sort of you'll push the envelope.
We will.
I mean you specifically.
Oh, yeah,
and I think you do too. I've seen you a couple times where you just go up and you're like, it's like, but between the two of us, I really push. I push it all the way off the table. But I think you go up on stage sometimes and you have a thought or you say something, and however the audience reacts, you're like, well, fuck it. This is what's on my mind.
Yeah.
And that is not acceptable in television or film.
I know, because I think what we feel is like you can't be hateful, and like if you're going to be hateful, then it's really not going to be that funny because like we could tell you're hating. But if you're just making a joke about whatever and it's funny, it's like because I'm fucking not, I'm just kidding around.
But that's what he was saying too. Was like, I think.
Yeah, I'll plug it back in for you.
This is great. I really know what I'm doing. I think that's part of it too, is like Chappelle was sort of saying that we don't, he said, I'll fight to the death for you to have your opinion. Mm-hmm. And somebody much more famous said that in a much better way. But it is, he said, if somebody be up there and saying racist stuff, if it's funny,
right,
then I think they should be able to say it. I don't agree with it.
Yeah, but
Yeah. And I just think now, especially for me, sometimes on set, whatever it is, it can be the most irreverent film. I still feel a little bit of like, there's a prerogative. There's some sort of, there's something that the person is trying to do, a kind of a moral compass that they're trying to push on the audience.
Sure.
And with stand up, I feel like I'll come into a room and I'll just throw out all the material I'm doing. If I talk to somebody and they say, you know, I sometimes I'm like, you know, every comic's like, what do you do for a living? But sometimes I'll say, well, what do you do for a living? And the guy will be, this, but I hate it. And I'm like, well, why do you hate it? And then the whole rest of the set is just conversation about that.
You're a guy, I think maybe you think it's a little bit that you're just kind of a free spirit and Hollywood's a little constraining. Because you're a kid who likes to come in with a bottle of apple cider vinegar and just live free. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's what you're drinking as your beverage.
Yeah.
Well, go with the Kati roll.
I love this kid.
Yeah.
To go with the Kati roll.
I mean, let's
just sad across the board. Kati roll, apple cider vinegar.
Yeah.
With 2 consonants in front of the vodka.
Because I don't know if you've ever had an apple cider vinegar. It's got a little bit of a kick. It's not really something you drink as a Snapple.
Yeah, babe.
He's drinking it like a Snapple.
Babe. And I don't know if you've ever had an apple cider vinegar with vodka in it. That's what gives it the biggest kick.
And by the way, at the underneath the cap, it just says "You're sad." That's no Snapple fact. Just you're sad. Well, I think actually. So I've been doing Media Front or Water. And I was talking quite earnestly with about Silicon Valley and sort of my exit from that and how I thought that would be the funniest way to exit. And after the show, Kate was like, I just want to tell you, like, you should, be careful what you say because I don't want you to, piss anybody off in Hollywood. And I was like, why? Yeah. That was the first time. Really, I said, why? She goes, well, I just, I don't want you to, and she didn't even have an answer. She was like, I don't want you to lose any opportunities. And I was like, what opportunities?
Yeah.
I am currently doing exactly what I want to do, which is live in New York City with you.
Yeah.
And tour as a stand-up.
Yeah.
And that was it. Because we met in college.
Right.
And I came to visit her, and she was working as like a headhunter for a design firm. And she said, I want to live in New York. We should live in New York. And I went to Dangerfields because that's what I looked up on the internet. That was comedy club.
Right.
And I got there and I saw Artie Fuqua and Godfrey get up and just crush.
Right.
And I remember Artie was like, I couldn't afford to get in. So I had to watch from like the bar area.
Right.
And I saw Artie kind of go, hey, I've got like a 9:15 down to the cellars anyway. I can get up next. And then he was like stretching and I was like, what is this? And then I realized in New York, you can do like 3 sets, 5 sets, 10 sets.
Sure.
And that was the moment. I was like, if I can live here with the love of my life and do sets nonstop, that's like my work ethic is like,
I love that.
I said that would be the dream. And so a lot of people were like, why did you leave? Because everybody in Los Angeles either wants to be super successful or very rich.
Okay.
And so people were like, why would you leave this show? You can buy a boat in 2 years.
Yeah.
And you'll be a famous. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, that's what I always wanted, was for people to be like, yo, Ehrlich, like just yell my television name and then head out into the ocean in my shitty, weird yacht.
Yeah.
And they said, why? And you said, well, because Dustin Chafin needs some feature work on the road.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah. Shout out Dustin
Hey,
Chafin.
man. Hey. He's doing the job.
Oh, he's one of my close
MC.
friends. Yeah.
No, I
he's
know.
the best.
That's where we,
that's where we know each other.
Yeah.
But that's why I like, recently like Ricky Gervais.
At least I give. Yeah. Now I will go down the crashing.
No, do it.
Do it.
Rabbit.
You're on the history of hyenas. This is off the rails.
The second word is hyena, so we just say whatever we want.
Yeah, and when you walked in here, we made you queen of the matriarch.
Well, I think it's kind of strange that I don't know. I think a lot of people get their start. I almost did it in reverse. A lot of people get their start and then kind of say fuck you to all the people that frustrated them in the beginning of their career, and they go off, and those people that started their career end up asking, hey, can you help me get another credit? And I kind of did Yogi Bear 3D and then made my way to stand up.
Yeah.
It's like I mean, you guys will see me in 4 years barking outside of the Grizzly Bear.
You're the only guy. You're the only guy who
free stand up comedy.
You're the guy who started a movie with Jennifer Aniston and did spots at the Grizzly Pear.
Exactly.
Yeah. He's like, I'm doing a press tour for the movie with Jennifer Aniston, but I got a couple spot times at Grizzly I got to squeeze in.
I'm trying to get to both of the New York comedy clubs tonight. Best name ever. A lot of thought went into that.
What city is this? Okay. What do we do here? Let's call it that. New York Comedy Club. Yeah.
It's like Yogi Bear 3D. You know what's happening. You know the whole thing.
Yeah.
But that's why I like Ricky Gervais's speech, recently because he was like, listen.
Does he even know how to pronounce his last name? Has anybody wondered that?
Gervais.
Do you think sometimes he's like, hello, I'm Ricky. Ricky Gervais. He just mumbles it to get through it.
But when he said, look, I want to be in freaking movies and TV shows. Absolutely. But it's like all what we're doing right now, the podcast and then translating that into stand-up dates is like, yeah, that's what we all want to do. It's like we're doing exactly. I don't have to fucking read lines somebody else wrote or be like, oh, I can't really make this joke because it's Hollywood and they don't allow that. It's like, fuck you. We're on the podcast. We're on the stand-up.
What is more thankless than the job of a host? When has the media ever come out afterwards and been like, great hosting?
Yeah.
Some of the jokes didn't hit, but here are the ones that I love.
No.
Never that. Yeah. It's never that.
It's just shit on them.
And I think, I have a podcast, Cashing In with TJ Miller. Me and Cash Levy do it. And that is so fun. And we try and tour together as much as we can to do more of that. I think that's what people seem to be craving. Podcasts, stand-up, anything that is really authentic.
Yeah.
And I think
genuine.
that's, to immediately get political.
Yeah.
I think that's why he was elected, is people kind of were like, well, at least this guy's telling the truth.
But
Even if he's a fucking asshole.
We're talking about Donnie T.
We're talking about Donnie T.
DT.
Yeah.
Trump 2020, baby.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
T.
Yeah, can't wait.
Yeah.
What can you do? It's happening 4 more. Take it or leave it.
Look, if you don't enjoy having a president,
Do you really believe that?
I think that he's probably going to win.
Yeah.
We feel in here that he'll win.
So I called it, and I was telling all my friends, we lived in California, and I was telling all my friends, I said, I think this is happening. And they're like, no. Even my parents in Denver were like, no. It's Hillary by a landslide. And I said, I'm traveling all over the country. I really am seeing, these aren't stupid people, but they are, this is the direction. And then it happened. And now people, because I called it, they're like, hey, so what do you think about? And I'm like, just end the sentence there. I kind of know what's going to happen. We'd have to see a really strange shift or anything. But you know what? That's okay. What's not okay is I was actually in this neighborhood, went across the street, some millennial kid, which, by the way, now millennials, you're like, they're like 38. Like, I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah.
So I go, who are you voting for? And he's like, neither. I was like, well, he goes, yeah, you know what? They want to burn it all down, then burn it all down.
Oh, what an idiot.
That's not okay. To me, it's like, I don't care about either of the presidential candidates. That guy is a guy who I would love to slit his Achilles tendons and have him run a 5K.
Yeah, the guy
that was very specific torture. I like that.
I know.
Yeah, that was specific.
And it requires sort of some charity.
Yeah.
He's got to raise money before
he's got to raise money and then he's got to suffer. That was a very specific fucking torture scenario. I appreciate that. Yeah,
I told you my uncle. I had an uncle. He passed away, and somebody robbed my mother's purse in the neighborhood I grew up in, and they were doing it like the purse robbery scheme was happening out of this one bodega on my corner, and my uncle would drink beers there. And he was like a really bad guy, my uncle. And he found, he's like listening to this guy talk about the purse he just snatched. And he's like getting information. He's like, I think that's my fucking sister-in-law. So then he took him to the garage, got him hammered, and took him to my garage later that night. We had no idea this happened until like 20 years later. And he fucking burnt the skin off his kneecaps with a blowtorch.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he strung him up.
And he said,
that's a different, that went from a regular story to terrifying very quickly.
Well, yeah, this is a fucking New York City podcast.
Well, and also,
he said in 10 years, that's going to be a scenario TJ Miller is going to use if you vote the wrong way.
It's what it is.
Have you seen the scam? There was a guy right here, like not on McDougal, but West 4th or something.
Yeah.
And this guy, he'd be carrying a beer. And he'd pretend to bump into somebody, smash the beer, and be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Or no, it was pizza, and he would always drop the pizzas like $1 pizza, and he'd be like, "What are you?" And then he'd get $10 from primarily white women.
Sure,
no offense to any of the fellas in here.
Yeah,
and then I saw him get another piece of pizza and do it again.
Yeah,
and I was like,
it's an old New York scam.
So then he walked by me, bumped into me, knocked like the pizza knocked. He goes, "Hey, what am I supposed to do? That was my food for today," or whatever. And so I went and got him pizza, and I was like, "Here you go. Sorry about the pizza," thinking Like that's me not being a New Yorker. I'm like, there you go. Then he used that fucking pizza to do another scam. He's like,
he just gave him more scam fuel. Yeah.
And I had another great experience. It was Christmas that time, and somebody was doing the shell game with bottle caps.
Yeah.
And I was kind of watching. I was like, wow, this is really skillful. And this guy comes over and he's like, hey man, I just won $100. And I was like, hey, listen, I know you're the mark or whatever. And he goes, hey, let me tell you something, man. I'm the shill. Okay. The mark is these other, and he's like pointing to the people. And he's like, so you act like you know everybody. And he started to put his arm around me. And I was like, don't fucking touch me. And he's like, oh, you touchy, huh?
Yeah.
You're touchy?
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, man, I'll go right over there and tell the fucking cops what you guys are doing. He's like, okay. And I did. I walked over to the cops and I was like, hey, they're like conning a bunch of people out of money right over there. And the cop was like, who cares? Like he really was like, why the fuck you wasting me? I was just in a conversation with this very attractive girl.
Yeah.
And you're coming over being like, hey, idiots are getting their money taken.
There's some immorality happening over there.
I pay rent. All of us are like,
just today, my friend was telling me, just this happened today, an hour ago, 2 hours ago. He, unfortunately was driving through where the park is in our neighborhood, and he killed a dog. Some dog got off the leash, and
do all your stories end with tragedy?
Yeah, something bad's happening.
That's
Anyway, he was trying to burn the paws off this dog with the
yeah, he's a nice guy. He just, and then so he kills the dog today.
And
never a sentence that has happened. Never been said. He's a nice guy. So he killed this dog
today. Yeah.
2 hours ago. Not an hour. Yeah. 2 hours ago.
Yeah, kid fucking lights his dog up with his Honda Civic. And then they call the police. And the owner of the dog, this woman, is like trying to get my friend arrested. I mean, he wasn't drunk. He had a seatbelt on. He wasn't texting. She's like, you need to arrest him. And the cop's like, what do you want me to do? And she's like, it's a fucking dog. And then they're like, my friend is like, he's telling me the story. He's like, the woman is like, keeps like you have to do something. You're the police. Like, this is my child. And the cop's like, it's a dog, lady. And there's no leash around the neck. So how about I give you a ticket for having your dog off the leash?
Wow.
And that's just how it worked out.
I like this too. Like, is the dog pressing charges? No.
Yeah. Yeah. What kind of dog is it? Yeah.
Are there any dog witnesses to tell his side of the story?
Yeah, so it's like, no, I feel bad that
all
the dog
the cats are like, he was on a leash.
I feel bad that the dog died too, but it's like, yeah, lady, like, what do you want me to do?
It's just a tragic accident.
It's a tragic. It sucks.
Yeah, it's a tragic accident.
Just like the blowtorch to the knee. It's just
the same thing.
Tragic accident.
It's a tragic.
It's too bad.
Yeah. You know what is funny about my family is I have, because my dad's like kind of like a really
You mean guy. Beyond torture in the basement?
Yeah. What is going on? Did you grow up in a foster family that killed your real family?
No, but it's like,
what the fuck happened?
The same.
Don't you think that's the deal? I feel like whatever father figure he had was like, you meet a man and he says something negative about what you're wearing. You slit his throat, and then as he's dying, you make him drink his own blood.
Yeah. And then you go, okay, Dad. But then he goes, whoa. Wait. Don't forget the torture in the basement before you do that.
Yeah. No, but it's like the same thing. Like, they'll burn skin off people's kneecaps. And then I remember it was me, my cousin, and my uncle. He took us to a Giants-Eagles game in Philadelphia, and we're all wearing Giant stuff in Philly. It was like a nice road trip, whatever.
Yeah, because Philadelphians are really easygoing.
So then what happens is these guys start to like fuck with us.
Take anything serious.
We were like 12 years old. They start to fuck with my uncle, like start to fuck with him, be like, fuck you, whatever. And I guess he's starting to like panic. I mean, this guy's blown skin off people's kneecaps, but he's starting to panic a little bit.
It was in Philadelphia, yeah.
Yeah, it was in Philadelphia. He's starting to panic. So he gets up and he goes, this is the way you're going to treat a man that served his country and fought in wars. I'm a fucking veteran, and you're going to do this in front of my family. You guys should be ashamed of yourselves. New York City and Philadelphia are both cities in this country that we both love. So stop it. And he starts to get like an applause break, and then he sits down, and his daughter, my cousin's like, I didn't know you were in the army. He's like, I wasn't. Yeah. I swear to God. And then we left after the third quarter.
So good.
Then we left. We didn't stay the rest of the game. It was
like,
tied
I don't
up.
Show anybody.
Yeah. He was like, let's go. And he's like saluting people. Like, let's get a cheesesteak and get the fuck out of here.
Let's get a cheesesteak. Philadelphia. I have a joke when I play there. Philadelphia is the only place in the world where you're talking to a girl at a bar, and then she'll be like, yo, hold up. Hold that thought. I got to go take a shit.
Yeah.
And when I tell that joke in Philadelphia, all the girls are like, yeah.
Yeah.
And all the guys are like, we have to put up with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with Boston a little bit too.
Boston,
I
yeah,
think
but Boston's not as
Boston,
not
my
like
joke
Philly,
is
though.
Boston. My joke is Boston, the birthplace of racism, and everyone's like, it is true. Isn't it?
Yeah,
They
It is.
do.
I mean,
It's kind of Boston's kind of like oxymoronic in the way that it's like the highest of high culture with Harvard and Cambridge, and then you go like to one neighborhood over, and they're like, "Fuck
you
it,
need something
dude,
like that though.
fuck
you know?
you
That's the
cocksucker."
Southeast, yeah. So where are you from?
Brooklyn,
Yeah,
But he's from Park Slope,
from
Brooklyn.
Park Slope.
It's a different Brooklyn than I'm
it's
from.
like Carroll Gardens, but things are going better.
Yeah. It's different. We come from different sides of the track.
We
me
do
and
come
Johnny.
from and you know
Where'd you grow up?
I'm like from Ridgewood, Bushwick, Brooklyn. So it was like old school, more blue collar. Like
But still
it's-
very Brooklyn.
It's a little Brooklyn. Yeah. Now we live.
What do
in
you
Bay
guys
Ridge.
think of people that grew up in Manhattan? Do you have any opinion either?
We,
They're different.
we call them homosexuals.
Yeah.
No.
Metrosexual.
No, you want to hear?
It's good.
You want to hear the
explain-
truth? This is the truth.
about Manhattan.
This is the
Johnny's gonna
truth.
tell
When
you.
I was a kid, people from Manhattan didn't go to Brooklyn and Queens. Like they wouldn't even like crossing the bridge was like you had a better chance of them going to Europe than like a kid from the Upper East Side
but
going to Brooklyn. It was
that's-
just like had the stigma about it.
That's true.
So everybody just stayed in their respective boroughs.
For the
Yeah.
most part, but like somebody who wasn't from New York, like real New York, like the way we talk, the accent, all that. That's all the outer boroughs. That's Brooklyn, Staten Island, Queens, and the Bronx. People from actually from the island of Manhattan are like not. They're obviously from the center of New York, but they don't sound or look like they're not New York. What the movies wants New York to be. What the movies wants New York to be is fucking the Bronx Tale and shit like that. So people who live on the island of New York are either really poor that live in the projects or extremely wealthy. It's hard to be middle class and just living in an apartment in Manhattan.
I think right now there is little to no middle class in Manhattan.
No.
No.
It used to be the Upper East Side. They would go, all the rich people live in Park, Park Avenue. And then now that's not the case. It's
No.
like even Washington Heights. You're like, well, what are you paying? $3,400 a month? Oh, that's a steal. It's crazy. And then I think you're right that there's sort of the other side of the spectrum, which is people that are incredibly impoverished, but somehow we're making it work in Manhattan. But there's also a lot of rent controlled. We know a guy who lives in a penthouse on 70 Upper West Side for $560 a month.
My God.
Yeah.
And you can't get him out, man.
He fucking inherited that from his 30 years older gay sugar daddy husband.
Yeah.
And $560. It's wild.
A month. for a
Those things are
penthouse.
so coveted in New York when you have a rent control situation.
Yeah, the owners want you the fuck out.
Yeah, you'd rather like almost have that than own your own spot.
Oh, for
and
sure.
pay outright.
Oh, I would
Of
like
course,
that.
yeah.
My mortgage, we live in Greenwich Village, and our mortgage is like, I don't tell a lot of people what the exact figure is, but when I do, they're like, I'm what? Like,
Yeah,
it's impenetrable, the
Yeah.
idea that a person would, but what everybody says is like, yeah, but then when we turn around and sell it, you're going to make quite a
Sure.
lot of money.
Yeah.
But it is weird. It's like 700 square feet. I know a guy who's like, yeah, I just bought a house. It's $175,000 and it's a 10 bedroom, 350 bath.
Yeah.
And you're just like, what?
Well,
but you're not paying for the place. Just like rent, you're not paying for the apartment that you have in Brooklyn and the Bronx. You're paying to live in New York.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
You're really paying.
Location, man.
Yeah, because like it's great if I only pay $700 a month. Where do you live? Cleveland?
Yeah. You're like,
All
that's
that
too
follows
much.
that is like a sad side.
Yeah.
You're going 700.
Yeah,
That's too much.
In Toledo, they pay you to live there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get $200 a month subsidized just to stay in
Yeah.
Toledo, Ohio.
Yeah.
It's true, man.
Have you ever played Toledo?
No, never been to
No, never been.
Really?
No, never.
Yeah.
How is this the case?
Yeah.
That I have played. I bet you Dayton, Ohio. Have you guys played it?
No.
Columbus, Cincinnati, and
Cleveland.
Youngstown, Cleveland, and Youngstown I've been to.
Those are all the beautiful places.
I never
Not
been to
Youngstown.
Toledo or Dayton. I actually been to Dayton. I'm sorry, I've been to Dayton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not Toledo.
Fucking
Where's the worst
Youngstown.
place that you've ever played?
Ooh.
The worst, like comedy club or city?
Yeah, but not. You know what everybody says is like, oh, what's the worst gig you ever had?
No.
What is the worst town that you had to be in for the weekend? For me, it's Toledo. It was
Toledo.
really. I met a woman in Toledo, and I go. She goes. A lot of times people go, "Why are you here?" Or no. What are you doing here? And I'll say, "Oh, well, I'm doing stand up." Oh, okay. Where? this woman in Toledo goes, "Why are you here?" And I said, "I'm playing a." She goes, "Well, every night? What are you going to do? You can't go to Cleveland." And I said, "Do a lot of people from Toledo go to Cleveland?" And she goes, "Yeah, they have everything in Cleveland."
That's her city. That's
so
That's
bad.
a city.
So
Cleveland
that
looks like a city that's closed when it's open.
Yeah, it does.
yeah, exactly.
That's how I would describe
Yeah,
Cleveland.
it looks
So I still do this joke. I'll never go back there, but I still talk about how in in Toledo they laugh and then they stop.
Right.
That's it. And I think the reason is because they laugh and they experience that momentary joy and happiness, and then suddenly they remember, "Oh my God, I live in Toledo."
It's hard.
This comes back to them.
My worst place is San Francisco. Trump 2020.
You don't like San Fran?
just
Oh, you just kidding? Oh,
I'm
yeah,
making
yeah,
a joke.
Oh, yeah.
I don't play San Francisco anymore.
Yeah.
San Francisco and
There's
Seattle,
human shit on the street.
They take themselves too seriously.
Yeah.
San
Seattle
Francisco,
too,
I made some joke in the beginning. I go, "Oh, sorry, I'm late. I couldn't figure out which city paper to buy. The one that said you have the best artisanal breads or the one that said you have the best artisanal meats." And they were all like, "Yeah, tough choice." Like they don't get it.
They just don't get it. I say for me, you know what? Actually, my least favorite place was Indianapolis.
Why?
I don't know, man. I was in a club
Where, Cracker?
Crackers off the side of the highway.
Yeah, that's
and I
a tough one.
just didn't like. I was just brutal. Everything was off the side of the highway. I didn't have a car. I was just like, I remember we were at the bar and the comedian I was co-headlining with was black. And so the bartender was like, what would you like to me? And he was like, what would your colored friend like? And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Colored? I was like, where the fuck are we? And then my friend was cool with it. He was like, whatever, man, shit happens. We're in Indianapolis. I was like, I hate it here. I fucking hate it. And then also Tampa, the condo in Tampa at Side Splitters, which I know is a new owner now, me and the same comedian checked in and there was a human tooth in the sink.
Yeah.
So that was Brutes Magoots.
Wow, that was Pauly Shore's tooth.
Yeah,
I think.
probably.
Yeah, it probably was.
He's
That
like the
was
new
wild.
John Fox. I had a tough time in Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
Grand Rapids and then Myrtle Beach, which I used to go to as a kid. And then I went back there. I go, "Oh, this will be great." Right back to Myrtle Beach. And no one was laughing. And 45 minutes in, I looked at this woman. I go, "You haven't laughed at all. You keep looking at your watch." And she goes, "You got 15 minutes to make me laugh." And I was like, I got to get the fuck out of here.
Oh, yeah.
And then in Grand Rapids, here's how sad. Grand Rapids went so poorly. It was just everyone was drunk. That's all. They were just, they want to forget that they're in Grand Rapids.
Sure.
But it went so poorly that I drove to a strip club, parked in the parking lot, and didn't go into the strip club. I just sat in my car, looked at the strip club, and was like, I think I should quit comedy. I think this is that moment.
It's funny that the best place in Grand Rapids to be is alone in your car.
Yeah.
It's like
Exactly.
you're like I'm in the best place I could be right now.
Yeah. In the parking lot of the strip club.
That's so sad. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was, I think if you don't have those moments, then you don't like have a great show and go, "All right, I got here."
Well, you know what? You know what happens too with like family, like you guys got wives, I have a child. So it's like now, like when I go on the road, it's like I don't want to do that shit anymore. Like, cause if I'm like depressed in a place, then I just mentally, I'm like, I don't want to go back.
How often do you tour?
I'm a lot, like often, like every probably 2019, I probably did like 35, 40 weekends. So it was like most of the time,
That's
just
great,
keep
yeah.
going. And I hated it. And I didn't hate it. I was appreciative of it. But certain cities, I was like, this ain't worth the money. This ain't worth the time. This ain't worth shit. Cause I'm just like missing my daughter. And I'm just like banging my head against the wall. Like, this is what comedians are supposed to do. It's like, not when you have a kid. It's like,
They do. They say, if you have a kid, then every day that you're gone, something new happens.
Sure.
And you're not there for it.
Yeah, I don't want that.
I mean, I miss Kate a lot, but
Sure.
you say 35. I toured 51 weekends.
Yeah.
And then this last year, I took some time off to go. She got into a very prestigious art festival, so I went to go see that. But I toured still like 47.
and you still will do it this year. That's what's on the books. You want to go every weekend.
I think this year I might do like 52, maybe.
Just every weekend gone.
Every weekend.
Yeah.
And you don't mind it. You don't mind living out of the suitcase on the weekends. It doesn't bother you.
Well, I don't bring a suitcase. I just bring a trash bag full of clothing. Just a white trash bag. Or in Indianapolis, a colored trash bag. And
微商实验
I don't love it, but I definitely, it's kind of what you got to do, I guess. I don't know. And Kate and I have been together for so long that she's not, Yeah, but I think just this last year, both of us were like, wow, we're really...
Does she come with you a lot on the road?
She used to open for me.
Oh, sick.
And she's not a comedian.
Wow.
So she would do sort of music and then this like clown, absurdist performance piece that got
cool.
huge laughs. And that was really great. But now her stuff has really taken off, so it doesn't make sense.
Right.
But I was, she and I were talking a couple nights ago, and I was going, if I do a movie, I'm gone for like 2 months in Atlanta or Baton Rouge, Louisiana or something. And I won't see you at all because there's no reason for you to come out there. So we both agreed, I'm gone 60% of the time, but we know that we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday together.
Right. Always.
And I always try and tell myself, like, there's a lot of people that go to war.
Sure.
Right. Or pretend to at
an Eagles game.
Sporting event. Or, a traveling salesman. It's like, that's part of the job.
Right.
But to speak to what you just said, Cash Levy, who I do the podcast with, always says, I go and I'm gone on the weekends, and that's when things happen. That's when the soccer, the goal is scored.
Sure.
That's when, you come home. He just feels, but he said that's the job,
See, but
I wouldn't trade it for a 9 to 5.
And I agree. I agree with that. But I think for me, it's like, I kind of think like, well, what's more important to me? Like working the weekends and doing that, or the time with my daughter? Because for me now, time with her is like a currency, just like money. It's more valuable than money to me. So it's like I'm still working. I'm not quitting. I love comedy. I love what I do, but I'm just saying, like, some of those weekends that I used to take, like even great clubs, like one of the Punchlines or something that are going to only offer like not great money with not good incentives to sell tickets. I'm like, you know what, man, I'll stay in New York, try to do the Comedy Sellers here and just spend time with my daughter.
But there's an expiration date also on how much time you have with your daughter before she's like, fuck this guy.
Exactly.
Why does he keep
exactly
interfering in my life?
Exactly. So that's how I think about it too.
That too.
She's 4 right now. She's 4. So it's like, I don't want to miss something when she's 4, but when she's 14, she may be like, I don't want you here. You're embarrassing me. And then I could go to Toledo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Then you can hit Grand Rapids hard
In the stripper parking lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I don't know.
Yeah, the road is,
Yanni, you're having a good hair day today, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, just so you know. Yeah, because a lot of fans like to know because sometimes Yanni comes in, he's bald, and sometimes he has more hair than usual, so we don't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
But today it's good.
Yeah.
TJ's got a lot of hair.
TJ does have a lot. He's got excess hair.
I got hair to spare.
Yeah,
TJ's a guy who will.
Is the t-shirt that I'm selling on the road.
Yeah.
I got hair to spare.
TJ's a cute fucking kid. He's a handsome kid. He will get kissed on the lips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It will happen.
You have you had to work, and I now suddenly as I'm saying this, I feel bad for both of us.
Let it rip.
But have you had to work against being a handsome fellow as a comedian?
The only
because you look like you promote a club in Staten Island. That's your look.
Well,
that's your look. That's the look.
Well, that's why I don't have to go to Toledo because I do that, and that's why I make the money on the side. Yeah.
Cash for days. But
no, I don't have to work. I don't know that I work against it. I do. And when I used to, now you get to an age now where it's like, I'm just trying to do what I do. I'm only competition with myself. A lot of my peers in the beginning would be like, you're only getting things because of what you look like. I would deal with that a lot. Well, but Kate, not from the audience.
When Kate and I went to college, she said that she had seen me around and she thought I looked like an asshole. So I guess I have that look. That you can still marry, apparently.
Girls think that's hot. That's a sexy thing to that.
Yeah, not in my case, right? Toddler body. I look like an asshole. But I feel like you, when I first saw you, I was like, all right, let's see. Not like I was like, oh, but I kind of was like, well, we'll see what this guy. And then you fucking killed.
Oh, thanks.
And then I was like, oh, yeah, anybody, as long as you're funny, you know.
Yeah. Because I think, like, what, one thing I had.
And honest, you're very attractive.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
The hair looks great.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Always a class act when it comes to eyewear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great
boots. Great. You always got great boots.
Yeah. I got my,
the Jordan.
Yeah. He's very put together.
Yes. Yeah. What are those you got going on over there?
Oh my God.
What are those shoes?
These are Balenciagas. That's when you do the Emoji Movie and you want to be comfortable running from set to set.
Yeah. You go.
Yeah. What's been your favorite movie that you've done? I know I'm sure people ask you this, but I just want to know.
No, it's weird. No one ever asked that.
Really?
No.
Yeah.
I always go.
Because I would think it's Deadpool or something like that, but it may not be.
Deadpool 1 was really cool because we didn't know what we had.
Yeah.
Deadpool 2 was tough because Ryan was then famous and awkward with Kate. So that was, but I think Ready Player One, I remember I was in this like bizarre ping pong balls on the CGI suit, all this weird stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is really embarrassing. And Ben Mendelsohn, who's a great actor, a real actor, he goes, yeah, it's a lot to work with. A lot to make. Yeah, this is a lot to work with. And I was like, yeah, it is. And then Spielberg came up and was like, all right, let's do it. We're making movies, huh? We're returning to our childhood. And I completely forgot that I looked like a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
And it was just so fun. It really was like fooling around, So that was really, really fun. But I think the best Office Christmas Party was great, but She's Out of My League. That was like the first movie that I did. And all those guys were funny. Like the four main guys, especially Jay Baruchel, were all really funny guys. So we were all joking around. And then, and this will segue to a great Michael Bay story.
Hell yeah, dude.
But, we hated somebody on that set. And sometimes
Hillary
in
Clinton?
a film
Together? Did you bond on that? That'd be a good bonding. If
we all bonded together at that
this Hollywood
point.
bullshit, we can't say it, but fuck
future
that bitch.
presidential candidate Hillary, fuck you, Clinton.
Yeah.
No, we all sometimes in a film, if everybody can bond together and kind of not likes, then that gives you a common ground. So I was with Michael Bay, who really, really nicely bought me dinner. This is very kind of him. On my birthday, because the girl I was dating at the time flew out and she was so pissed. And I was like, what? And he brought me out, and I said to him, because we were having drinks, and it was some sushi restaurant in Atlanta, and I go, why are you so mean to everyone? I just said, why do you have this reputation of yelling? Because everybody loves him. He's not actually a mean guy. He just yells a lot.
Wow. I
said, why do you yell at everybody so much? And he said, I just couldn't believe it. He just sort of looked at me and he said, what do we do on a film set? Everybody complains. That's all you do. The wardrobe complains about the sound department. The camera people complain about the sound. Everybody's complaining about everything. Everyone complains about the other department. He goes, I give everybody one person to complain about, and it's me.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, there's method to the madness.
Yeah.
And that is such a good point, because all the time I would, we'd be in between takes and I'd talk to whoever and they were like, he's really on a tear today, huh? And that was the whole conversation.
Yeah.
That was really where
that's very interesting.
I thought fascinating. And
is that what Trump's doing?
No,
I don't know.
I think so.
Is that his thing? No, Trump's like Michael Bay. Make that a clip.
Chris,
yeah.
TJ Miller said it.
I don't see him coming up with
Chris,
Transformers 5. Yeah.
Imagine he did.
Yeah.
I
That
wanna
is
be
so
in it.
interesting, though. He's uniting them
Amazing.
in hate of him. He's like
Said
martyring
everybody
himself.
loves him, man, right?
Yeah, I mean, everybody says, I talked to, one of the cinematographers, because he has a bunch. And I said, so how have you worked with him often? And he said, oh, yeah, every single movie.
Wow.
And I was like, but he's so off the wall. And the guy was like, yeah, but you work with him. And the reason you're working with him is because you're the best. And he only works with the best. And then the movie doesn't come out for a year. And then you see it and it's awesome.
Yeah.
And you forget and so you sign right back up.
Yeah.
And he really, let me put it this way. Kate and I went to his house a couple times just to hang out. And I was like, he's just really a lot on set. And she's like, no, he isn't. I was like, no, yeah, he was screaming at me. She goes, no, because he's the best guy. It is technique.
Yeah.
And and the last day that I did on Transformers, that morning I went down to and I kept saying over and over to myself, I was like, don't quit. Don't quit. Don't quit. You don't need to quit. You don't need to scream at everybody. You just do the day. Don't quit. Don't quit. That's what I kept saying to myself. And then I went on set and right away he was like, this is our last day together, right? And I go, yeah. He goes, that's too bad, man. It's been a lot of fun. And I realized that was him sort of saying thanks for rising to the challenge of kind of how I work.
Right.
And gonna miss you because you're great. You were a lot of fun to work with. And I feel the same way because I think he is so loyal to every single person that he works with. Yeah, so that was a weird one. But also a movie that I wouldn't go see. Sometimes I'm in movies where it's like there's no chance I would buy a ticket to the Emoji Movie, but I am so happy when a parent is like, my kids are fucking disasters, but I put that movie on and they shut the fuck up for an hour and a half.
Oh, yeah.
Love it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why my kid just sits and watches that thing.
Over and over.
Yeah, well, yeah, we're taking a picture after this. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, kids
we have to. I got to show my baby. Yeah.
I love that a lot of actors are just always going like, I want to get that part. I want to get that part. And TJ's going like, don't quit. Don't quit. Yeah. Don't walk away from
I love about TJ. It's genuine honesty.
Yeah, just wants what he wants.
That's what you always stuck out from Hollywood. It's like, you're in it. You're a big movie star. Be like, yeah, but he's a comic first. Everybody knows that. You know what I mean?
I think actually the first time that people did sort of know that was when I moved to New York. Because when I was in Los Angeles, everybody was like, it's you know, the stand-ups are trying to be something else.
Right.
And the something else are trying to be stand-ups.
Good. Yeah.
And that's just it out there. And here I feel like it's like, you know, this is so dumb, but it's sort of like jazz. It's like you can't make a living anywhere else as a jazz musician except for New York.
Yeah.
And you don't make a great living, but you make a living.
Right.
And you're respected. You're working around people that also are great jazz musicians. And for me, my friend Nick Vatterott, who I used to work with now.
Genius. Yeah.
Such a genius. Right. He was in New York for a really long time.
Nick Vatterott.
Now he works at Bill Maher, and he said to me, he goes, you know, I've never heard you get off set. Because I talked to him a lot, and he goes, and be like, oh, it was awesome. I did this scene, and then I ran over and I did a scene in this, and then I ran over and we were doing a script read for the, but he says, all the time I hear you go, it was great. I did this set, then went to this place, did this set. And that was sort of, I think, you know, that's what's nice about here is everybody you cross paths with, they love that they're a comic in New York, you know?
Yeah.
And you don't have to talk to anybody.
No.
Yeah.
That's another great thing is you say, hey, how you doing? Good. Good to talk to you. I'm headed downtown.
Yeah.
I got to do a set.
Yeah.
In Los Angeles, it's like, oh, are you up? Yeah, I already went up. Oh, cool. Yeah. So I'm waiting for my my car. So do you have any auditions this week?
Yeah.
Yeah. How'd it go? Oh, good. You know, good. I'm up for the animated progressive box. For because they're trying to get rid of Flo. Oh, that's cool. What about you? Yeah, you know, I was doing, I was up for like a Quaker oatmeal commercial, but, and here it's like, you got to get to the next thing.
Well, yeah, because even that when somebody's in LA is like, I'm noticing like, how you doing? Like, and I'm like, oh, good. And then I'm like, how about you? And they're like, good. And then they just tell you what they've done in the career, where in New York, we would never do that.
It's uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable. It's like when I say how you doing, I mean, how
we got to wrap it up.
Human being, you know what I mean?
But
we got to wrap it up.
But what's really, really nice is that within the scope of, I feel like everybody here, as far as my experience with comics is like, how are they? How's the audience? Sure. Then the person tells you, how'd you do? Good, this, and then you're on to the next.
Yeah.
It's like, it is just solely. And on the History Hyenas podcast, I've been the first to not talk about history.
We didn't talk about anything history. And it's like, I love
we talked about the history of
of
TJ Miller on the set.
I love how all my Brooklyn friends, you know, Patty Fly Balls, Jimmy Debo, you know, they all listen to these podcasts, and it's like, this one is just, we're talking about cinematography, jazz, and love. Like, that's a gay fucking podcast. Yeah. Is that kid TJ Miller a gay kid? Who's the wife he's talking about?
I love the idea also in Brooklyn. It's just like, well, is that guy fucking gay?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in Manhattan, it's like, oh, he must make a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, that's the difference. That's why they fucking, that's why my friends work for JetBlue.
So you JetBlue, the gay airline. You guys brought up some stuff about ancient Greece.
We did.
So you were prepared.
We were. Well, Giannis is a fucking ancient Greek.
She's Greek too. We had two Greeks here.
Oh, that's right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But they said we got to go anyway, right?
Yeah.
We got to wrap.
People about to come in.
They're outside the door.
They're about to come up. Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
And what is the podcast after us?
Yeah. Who's coming on?
No, it's not ours.
You don't care.
TJ's staying.
All you care is you're like, we just got to go. I don't know who the fuck is out there, but there's no way we're going to talk about Pericles completely destroying the empire.
I have to go right now.
Oh, you got to go?
Yeah.
Number one or number two?
No.
And
Pleasant.
Point Pleasant. Jesus. Shout out Uncle Vinny's Comedy
Yeah,
Club,
Uncle
Point Pleasant, New
Vinny's.
Jersey.
So tell them in conclusion, the movie and everything that's coming out. What's it about? You excited?
Underwater, very excited. It's like Alien meets Abyss. It's just a new property. So it's not, Star Wars 57 or whatever. It's like actually a new movie And I think it's nice to sort of actually go to the movies and just have a good time instead of be like, oh wow, I love the cinematography of this. I didn't enjoy the movie, but wow, it was like one take.
Yeah.
That's 1917, you know.
This is just a good movie.
Yeah, and it's just fun. So I'm excited about
I do want to see 1917 though.
I saw it.
It's good?
Different approach to filmmaking.
Interesting, because it's a sick World War I war movie, right?
Yeah, it's not that sick though. It's
interesting because we fucking want to see it. We're the History of Hyenas. We're going to review it. All right,
it's not great. Oh no, you should definitely see it. But it's just the movie itself not that interesting. The war, really, really interesting.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I have a screener.
What'd you say?
I have a screener.
Oh, now you're back in. He's on his way out. He's like, just to let you know, I have the screener.
Can I have it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Did you watch it?
No,
do you have it online or do you have the DVD?
Did you put a coat over the coat you were going to wear out of here?
You look so
Why are you dressed like TJ's Mucinex commercial?
Yeah.
That's Brooklyn. In Brooklyn, they're Mucinex.
Yeah, that's what we do. Is he the guy with the fucking booger? Is that the guy?
Is that the fucking Mucinex guy?
I like that fucking guy.
In Manhattan, they're like Mucinex.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Mucinex. Yeah. All right. Well, all right.
Thanks,
See you later.
Tate.
Yo, have a good night.
Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
It's also nice. I just want to say it's nice to like sit and talk with comics. You know, I had a big press tour this morning, and you know they're not comics.
I know.
It's the same. So, when did you realize that you were actually amusing? When was that? Were you class clown? And I'm like, fuck off.
Shut up. No, yeah.
Ha 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 ha!